What's up, crew? Welcome to another video. Today I want to talk about 3 exercises you could start doing today to help you get your first muscle up or build a stronger foundation around the movement to help you cycle them in 3, 2, 1, go. Alright crew, thanks for dropping by in today's video, and if you're not a part of the crew, what the hell are you thinking? Hit that sub button and let's get started. The 3 movements that you can start doing today to help build a stronger muscle up are glute bridges, straight arm tucks, and arch hollows. But before we dive into that, let's get into a quick warm-up. This is just something to help get your blood flowing and get your joints ready to do the movements. Hop on a bike, a rower, or go for a quick run. Just spend 5 minutes bringing that heart rate up and getting your body warm. Next, we'll jump into a quick joint warm-up, go from head to toe, get everything nice and lubed up, and then we'll finish with a quick plank series. All of these are down below in the description for you to follow if you want to incorporate these into your warm-ups in the future. Glute bridges. So why are we doing glute bridges? Your hips are going to be what transfers the momentum and energy you build from your legs through your torso and into your shoulders. This position will also mimic what you will hit midway through a muscle up, whether it be on the bar or the rings. For the most part, today's exercises will focus more on the bar, but they can be applied to the rings. Obviously, it's just like doing stationary dips on a bar versus rings. There's a little bit of a stability difference, so it has a separate set of strength building around it. As with all of the movements, we're gonna progress up to a more advanced position, and for the glute bridge, we're gonna start with bent knees. You're gonna find a plyo box or a bench to use for your shoulder support. It should be about knee height so that when you extend your glutes all the way, you're going to be flat when you have your knees bent. And we're gonna go ahead and do a set of 10 controlled, keeping your core tight and pushing through your heels. Even if you have a strong glute bridge, this is going to act as a great warm-up to lead into the next position, which is going to be a straight body. This is going to further mimic the position that you're going to be in as you make that transition from a arch hollow to over the bar. Even in the bent knee position, pay close attention to the shape of your spine. You want to try to avoid curving too much or arching too much. You want to try to keep your spine as flat as possible. Once you've done your 5 to 10 reps here with the bent knees, we're going to go ahead and straighten our legs. Try to find a good position with your back on the bench and your legs out in front, heels dug into the ground, as this can be a funky position if you've never gotten into it before, but trust me, there's a way to do it, and I'm sure you'll feel it once you find it. Continue driving through the heels, putting pressure of your shoulders onto the corner of the bench or plyo box, and lift and squeeze your glutes. Try to avoid overextending in this position. Not only is this going to be uncomfortable for your lower back, but it's also an over-exaggerated position that you're not gonna hit when you're making that transition. It may also even hinder the movement and make it less efficient as you have to pull even further away from the bar. We're gonna do 3 by 10 here. Remember, focusing on pointing your toes, driving your heels into the ground, squeezing your glutes, and keeping a nice, firm, tight body at the top of that position. Also, don't move too fast through these. Just keep it nice and controlled. You'll start to build explosive movement through this in practical examples as you actually do it from the pull-up bar. Straight arm tuck. Why are we doing this? One of the most common mistakes when it comes to a bar muscle up or even a ring muscle up is an early pull. We're so used to pulling ourselves up in a pull-up that when we go to do a bar muscle up, we forget that we need to set our bodies a little bit higher to get our hips over the bar. Doing a straight arm tuck is one way to help get that straight arm pull for just a little bit longer, just enough to get yourself over the bar. So first off, if you do not have crossover symmetry, that is not a problem. You can grab a standard band that you would normally use for assisted pull-ups or mobility work. You can tie it in a variety of ways to get the same position that we're going to work with the crossover symmetry. We're gonna grab a light resistance for this and go ahead and set it up as you would the crossover symmetry protocol. That's with the right band or the left band in the right hand and the right band in the left hand so that the bands cross. There's 2 positions that we're going to train to provide a little bit of variety in this exercise. First off is going to be standing straight up. We're going to back up with your hands straight down by the pockets, feet about hip width, and you're going to rest the hands at the pockets just to set up the bands. There should be 0 slack, and if you were to go just past your pockets, it should almost, not 100%, but about 90% max out the band's tension. All right, so we've already set up our feet underneath our hips. Now we're gonna keep our hands and raise them out in front. This is gonna reduce the tension in the bands and get you to the starting position. That's standing straight up, hands out in front, glutes are squeezed, core is active. From here, we're going to start to press down with the hands and finish with the hands just behind the pockets. Throughout this entire range of motion, your arms should be straight as a board. The elbows and wrists should not move from the position they started in, only your shoulder will rotate. This is very, very important to help strengthen those small muscle groups in your shoulders to build a better foundation for the muscle up. With control, you're gonna return back to that starting position, again, keeping your wrists, elbows locked out and only rotating at the shoulders. Very, very important to keep your core and glutes active, as this is going to build some muscle memory as you pull over into the bar. The stiffer your body stays, the easier that movement's gonna be, the easier it is to transfer momentum into the shoulders. We're gonna go ahead and do 2 sets of 10 in this position, and then we're gonna just slightly change our position to mimic somewhat of a hollow body. You're gonna scoot your feet back just a little bit so that we can adjust the tension of the bands, and you can check that tension again once you get into the position. We're gonna go ahead and bend at the hips just enough to create a little bit of a hollow body. Okay, we're not gonna bend over too much, not like an RDL or a good morning, just enough to break the hips. Next, go ahead and position your hands down by the pockets to make sure the tension isn't too much. If it is too much, scoot forward a little bit. If it's not enough, scoot back a little bit. From there, we're gonna do the same exact thing. Hands out in front. If anything, they're gonna be a little bit higher at range of motion for the shoulders than before, and then you're gonna go ahead and squeeze back and tucking just behind the pockets. What this might feel like if you're used to Olympic lifting is the second position of a snatch if you were to start there to do a hang snatch. Again, 2 by 10, and then we're gonna move on to one last practical example. We're gonna grab a PVC pipe or a dowel, and you're going to hold them at shoulder width with the crossover symmetry handles in your hands. What this is gonna do is tie your hands together and create a little bit more of a practical example. It's not gonna do too much else different. It's just gonna add stability to the two opposite hands. It's just like changing from dumbbell press to barbell press. It's just now your hands are connected. You're gonna do a quick set of 10 there. You can do 2 sets of 10 if you want to. Really, this is just for you to create some new muscle memory and allow your brain to feel the motion with a bar in your hand. And now let's move on to the arch hollow. This is a foundational movement to any bar movement, whether it be a pull-up, toes to bar, or bar muscle up. It's really important that you have balance in this position or these two positions together in order to get a muscle up. If you don't have strength here, it's gonna be very difficult for you to get a bar muscle up. And even if you do get that bar muscle up, it's gonna be really hard to transition into a connected bar muscle up or cycling the movement. Got a weed whacker in the background. Hopefully that's not messing up this video. Can't control everything in the neighborhood. Now first, we're gonna start off on the ground to get used to both of these positions. We're gonna hold in a hollow position and hold in an arched position, or as some may call it, a Superman. Holding that position for 10 seconds, we're gonna go back and forth, 10 seconds each for 3 rounds. Once you've done that, we're gonna move on to the bar. But first, we're gonna go up to the pull-up bar. You're gonna set up right underneath it, jump up to a dead hang. It's very important right now to start in a dead hang, no movement. From here, we're going to press the pull-up bar with our hands, which is going to activate our shoulders, and then compensate with our hips and feet to create a new center of gravity. Okay, this is gonna be your hollow position from the hang. Hold that for about a 3 count. 1 1000, 2 1000, 3. Drop down and reset. Jump up into that dead hang. Now we're gonna go into the arch. You're gonna pull the bar, which is gonna push your shoulders forward, and then compensate again with your hips and feet to get into an arch position. Do not do it too quickly. You wanna make sure you just get into that position so you can dead hang still. We're not in the motion yet. 1 1000, 2 1000, 3, drop. If you wanna do that a couple more times just to feel the positions, go ahead and do that. Maybe another 2 sets each. But if you're ready, let's get into an arch hollow. Okay, now you're gonna jump up into that dead hang and you're going to practice trying to get a rhythm with the arch hollow. This is really hard to explain and something that you really have to play with yourself to find that balance. All I can say is that think of a metronome? Think of a metronome. I hope I said that right. It is what, musicians use to keep a tempo. It goes back and forth in a rhythm that does not change. Tick, tick, So make your hips a metronome. You want to find that center of gravity that allows you to stay underneath the pull-up bar. And what I want you to do is be honest with yourself. If you start to swing away from that, where you're in front of the pull-up bar and then behind the pull-up bar, I want you to drop down, reset, get into that dead hang, and start very small. To progress up to a more advanced version of this motion where you're able to swing from a full arch to a full hollow, we're gonna start very small, just moving your shoulders and hips a tiny bit, about an inch back and an inch forward from center. Once you get comfortable with that, try to get further and further away from center until you're able to shift your weight from forward to back very fluidly. Building this foundational movement of an arch hollow will not only help you with the bar muscle up, but will help you with any other pull-up variation where you may use a kip or butterfly technique. For those of you who don't have access to a pull-up bar, we're gonna go ahead and continue this drill on the ground. So going from doing just holds where it's 10 seconds each for 3 rounds, now we're going to transition or roll into each of the positions. We're gonna use a 1-1000, 2-1000 count and switch. Get into your hollow body, glutes are touching the ground, everything else is off the ground. Ideally, your hands are straight overhead, creating a nice curve. After 1-1000, 2-1000, you're gonna quickly roll over into a Superman and get into that arched position. 1-1000, 2-1000, roll back. Do this for a full set of 10 each. This will exercise the shapes slightly differently than the hang will, because in the hang, you're shifting weight. In this one, it's just giving your brain a bit of tactile practice for those positions and switching quickly. There you have it, 3 exercises you can start doing today to help you get your first muscle up or build a better foundation to help you cycle them in your next workout. Hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, crush that like button. And if you found that it helped you out and you know somebody that it can benefit, grab the link below and give it a share. Thanks for watching. Make sure to check out some of my other videos, and I'll see you in the next one.